Hey guys, this is Samir for Digit.in, and this is actually our first live hands-on with a product, and what better product to start with than the BlackBerry Priv. And the device is actually really good to look at. It feels really comfortable in your hands, and it has, of course, a keyboard. But before we get into our impressions of what the device can offer, we just want to quickly run through the specifications of the phone. It has the Snapdragon 808 chipset, 3 GB of RAM. It runs on Android 5.1.1 Lollipop, and it's not really skinned. Actually, BlackBerry's just implemented its apps into Android itself. So as you can see, it's a fairly stock Android experience. Coming to the other specifications, it has 32 GB of built-in storage, which is expandable up to 2 terabytes via a microSD card. It has a 3410 mAh battery. The rear has an 18 megapixel camera with the ability to shoot video in 4K, and the front-facing camera is a 2 megapixel camera. And the price of this smartphone in India is 62,990 rupees, and that's really steep. But of course, like BlackBerry says, it is a flagship smartphone and gives you a flagship kind of experience. So let's actually get things started with a little bit of a typing experience. So if I'm going to open and let's say type something, a text message for example, it's the physical keyboard that is going to get me that BlackBerry experience that people are actually looking for. So let's say this digit. Wow, I haven't actually done this in a while. And yeah, the typing experience is quite comfortable. As you can see, you can have, of course, the prompts up front. You can also use the keypad itself as a navigation device. It's a touch sensitive one, so in case you would like to, let's just give that a try by navigating through the app drawer. So yeah, like you can see, the keys themselves are touch sensitive, so you can actually use them to navigate the screen. And another advantage of having a keyboard which is not connected to your display is if let's say you're typing a document on Google Docs, you will always know that your keyboard takes up about a third of the display, whereas in this case you actually have the entire display at your disposal as a display to type out your Word document when you use the keyboard. And like I just did it out here, is swiping up brought an additional keypad on the display which you can use to the shortcut. So if you are used to an Android touchscreen smartphone, you know that you actually have to go into a separate menu to get these icons, but right here with the real estate on offer, you can actually have both of them open at the same time for a faster typing experience. Now, another thing that BlackBerry is touting with its smartphone, of course, is security. Let's just see if we can find the DTech app for you. It's right here. Now, a very cool example that BlackBerry gave was the fact that DTech can actually detect what apps are using which part of which features of your smartphone. So, for example, in the demo, they showed us how a flashlight app was actually using your GPS and your microphone. Now, why would a flashlight need to use the GPS and the microphone on a phone? So, you can actually go into the app itself, find out which apps are using what abilities of the smartphone, and actually get a notification. Now, of course, your most obvious question is going to be is why can't you just switch off that ability? Well, Android 5.1 Lollipop does not give you that option, but Marshmallow, which this phone is going to be upgradable to, will give you that ability. Another thing that we'd like to point out is the updates which BlackBerry has spoken to us about is the fact that most smartphones do not get regular updates, but BlackBerry says that the BlackBerry Priv is going to get almost monthly security patches. So as you know, security threats on smartphones keep growing on a regular basis, and BlackBerry wants to stay ahead of the curve in giving you that fluid, secure experience on a smartphone. Now, of course, coming to BlackBerry Hub is the one central place where you have all your text messages, your emails, your social networks. Now, of course, not all social networking abilities or messaging abilities are compatible with BlackBerry, and BlackBerry says that as and when they see the need and demand, they will add more services to the BlackBerry Hub. If you've ever been a BlackBerry user, you're going to be very comfortable, feel right at home with the BlackBerry Hub and BBM. Moving on, let's just open the camera and give you a quick look at what that looks like. So it's a pretty standard layout as far as we can see. On your left, you have a bunch of controls that include HDR, the flash, and of course in-depth settings in case you want more control over the kind of photos and videos you're going to click. And on the right here, you have access to a bunch of modes, that is panorama, photos, videos, and of course turning to the front-facing camera. And yeah, it's actually pretty snappy. But a verdict on the camera is something that we are going to reserve for when we actually review the device. Let's get another quick shot of the roses out here. Tap to focus was good, and yeah. So the phone is pretty snappy. Now coming to the build, you have of course 3 buttons on the side, and one is of course to control the volume, and the other is for the whoops. Okay, so yeah. I thought that would lock the phone. Anyway, so you have 3 buttons on the right side. You have the micro USB port at the bottom. The headphones jack stays at the bottom as well. And on the left, you have the power button. There you go. Yeah, we've just spent a little bit of time with the phone, and you have the micro SD card slot and the SIM card slot on the top, and overall it feels like a BlackBerry phone would. You have the same snappiness when it comes to the keyboard. Coming in and out, you have a speaker at the bottom. The display is curved. Now it isn't as curved as you've seen, let's say, on a Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge, because there are no Edge related depth functionalities. But what you do have here is the ability to see your calendar. So let's say if you are browsing the Digit website and you suddenly realize that you would like to check your appointments for the day, and you could just swipe from one side, and this is of course customizable. You can have a few of your favorite most accessed contacts, messages, your calendar, events out here. And since I'm using it with my right hand, you can see the little bar, white bar to access this is out here. But if you're someone who's left-handed, you can always go into the settings option and have it on the left. So the number of features that BlackBerry is bringing in addition to a stock Android experience is great. There are a lot of things that you can do with this phone, and we'd really like to put them to the test to see how well they function. And the build of the phone is great too. It is what you would expect from BlackBerry. But is this the smartphone that can bring BlackBerry back on the map? Is this what BlackBerry needs to come back and be that secure businessman's smartphone? Will we see the rise of the BlackBerry boys once again? Well, you'll actually have to stay tuned for our review to find out whether we feel that this is the device that can make or break BlackBerry. Just to reiterate the price, it is priced at 62,990 rupees, which is of course very premium pricing. It goes in line with flagships from Samsung and of course the iPhones, and that's where this phone actually stands if you look at the battery capacity in mAh at least, which should last you for a day, we hope. The availability of the physical keyboard, and of course the touch navigation controls that come on the keyboard itself. Reiterating the specifications, it has the Snapdragon 808 chipset, 3 GB of RAM, running Android 5.1.1 Lollipop, 32 GB of built-in storage, expandable up to a whopping 2 terabytes via a microSD card. The microSD card will be encrypted, so you really can't have data on the SD card if you've used it on another phone and expect it to run on this phone. The entire package is powered by a 3410 mAh battery. It has the 18 megapixel camera at the back, which can shoot video in 4K, the dual tone LED flash, as well as a 2 megapixel front facing camera, and of course you have the drop down notification. As always, you can let us know what you thought of this video. Hit the like button if you liked it. You can always hit the subscribe button for more videos like this, and stay tuned to Digit.in.